Welcome to my nest, friends. Before any of you comment on how tidy my space is, let me just tell you guys I gave this place a really good clean, knowing that you guys were coming. I know my husband wishes I always kept the flat this clean, but I feel like that's near impossible given how much time I spend here and how much use I make of it. I remember being so excited to have my own place, a place that I could retreat to, a place that I could explore my hobbies, and a place where I could finally learn how to cook. This is the first place I've ever lived in since moving out of my parents' house, and it's also the first time I've ever lived outside of London, and it really has become my little corner in the world. As a homebody, a lot of the things that I love doing are at home, so creating a space that inspires me to fill my day with joy and be more mindful was important to me. I bought a second-hand TV and sofa, and I made my own DIY coffee table. Instead of focusing on these big purchases, I feel like it's the little touches here that make this flat feel like a home. They're the things that bring this 450 square foot flat alive. I'm not a minimalist when it comes to my home. My dream home would be one where there's photos of my family and friends and all of my favourite memories at every turn. I don't think our homes should be these immaculate museums or empty clinical spaces. They should just be a place filled with love and energy. In this flat, a lot of the things that you see are actually gifts from other people or things that I've brought from my bedroom in London. Instead of keeping these things in drawers and cupboards, I like having little trinkets everywhere. I love now that I can have wedding photos out. I sometimes keep greeting cards out on display, and I love having plants and flowers as gifts because I like having things out that remind me of people I care about. Even with little things everywhere, I try really hard to keep this place clean and tidy, because if the flat is a mess, I feel like a mess, and then my life feels like a mess. To be honest, if there is any mess in the flat, it's usually in the kitchen. I have no idea how people cook and manage to keep their kitchens clean. For some reason, whenever I cook, food gets everywhere. It's something that I'm desperately working on, that and actually learning how to cook. So I don't actually own this flat, I'm currently renting. I know, you financially savvy people are probably thinking, wow, renting for 2 years is such a waste of money, and yes, I know, I've had the lecture before. The thing is, this is where I'm at in my life right now, and even though it can be a bit cramped and I hate that I can't put photos up on the walls, I do still think it's a privilege to be able to rent. Because I'm renting though, I had no choice in things like the colours of the walls, the kitchen, or the flooring, or anything like that. But I guess this place kind of worked in my favour because I love neutrals. Neutral colours are so incredibly grounding and they make me feel more peaceful. But also, it makes it look like you're pretty good at interior design when everything somehow coordinates with minimal effort. This is not a massive place by any means. It's a 1-bedroom flat with 1 bathroom and then the open living room space. We've tried really hard to make sure that we don't cramp this space with more things. I love how open the living area looks with the huge windows, and I didn't want to ruin that with clutter. And by that, I obviously mean visual clutter. There's definitely some messy drawers and cupboards around, and I'm not even going to show you what's under my bed. I think that's why things like fold-away desks are such a great idea. I tried to avoid buying a desk for so long because I felt like I didn't have a space, and I tend to sit on the floor a lot anyway, but I found my posture was really being affected by editing YouTube videos while sitting on the sofa. I didn't want to reduce the space I had for yoga, which is why I wanted a desk I could put away. In the end, it's become one of my favourite purchases. I like that I can use it to distinguish between work and play. I still don't feel like I have the space for an office chair, so I use my rocking chair. It's the only real pop of colour in the flat. One of my favourite things here is actually Edgar, my dragon teddy bear. He's always got a key seat in this flat. For those of you who don't know who Edgar is, he was in a John Lewis Christmas advert. My brothers have called me a dragon since I was little, and I used to hate it until I watched the advert. In the advert, Edgar is a dragon who gets so excited by Christmas that he keeps breathing fire and accidentally ruins things. It sounds so silly, but Edgar made me realise that my brothers call me a dragon because of the passion and excitement that I have. He's become my little mascot for self-acceptance, and that's why he's always around. I'd love to be able to say to you guys that small spaces are all I need, like a good minimalist would. The thing is though, now that my husband lives here with me, it's more noticeably small. Right now I've only given him 2 drawers for his clothes, and we've had to learn how to utilise the space. I kid you not, we use our dishwasher as storage space. If I'm honest with you, we do want more space, and I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. My husband hates that he can't stretch out his legs on the sofa because it's too small for him, and bathroom time can get really annoying if I urgently need to go and I interrupt his 30-minute quiet time on the toilet. But also, I'd love to have a garden. Since moving here, and especially since lockdown, I've really learnt to appreciate how incredible gardens are. I've definitely spent my whole life undervaluing gardens and having 2 bathrooms in the morning. People ask me all the time if I miss London, and I can honestly say I don't. I miss the people there, of course, but I never quite resonated with London. I always knew there was something more and that maybe city life wasn't for me. Because although I enjoy going out and I love being able to hop on the tube and go to so many different places, I also love having fresh air to breathe. I love seeing the colours of nature rather than of building work, and I love the quiet. Now I've found a much better balance. Manchester is a great city, but being a smaller one, it means it's so much easier to get a balance of both city life and countryside life. I feel like the air is so much cleaner here, and it means that I actually enjoy going outside so much more than I used to. I also feel like if this was a flat tour in London, this flat would be way, way smaller. So there's that too. As an introvert who needs to recharge, my space is so important to me, and I feel the sweetest sense of relief whenever I get back here. I love watching home tours on YouTube because I feel like our spaces really reflect our personality. Even though we might all have the same bog standard IKEA furniture, we somehow manage to make our spaces so personal to us, and I love that. It means wherever we go, if we move homes or live with new people for example, we will always make it a home because we inject so much of ourselves into where we live. We put a little piece of our soul wherever we are. And that's definitely how I feel about this place. Whenever I'm back here, I feel so at peace and so connected to myself. The world can sometimes be a tough place, our days can sometimes be stressful and draining, and we can very easily feel uncertainty in the world. And so whether we're introverts or extroverts, homebodies or social butterflies, I think we all need a safe space where we can feel free to be ourselves and to be understood. So anyways, it's time for me to retreat back to mine. Thank you guys so much for coming over.